Greetings and salutations. This is your girl, Outspoken Diva, and let's talk about it, shall we? Um, if you can't tell, online, offline, blogs, YouTube, social media, daily life. Every time you see me, when you don't see me, I'm a proud black woman, right? Okay, y'all knew that already, right? Okay, this is not a shock. So, it should not shock you because I'm also a nerd, right? That I try my hardest to try to learn something different, a different fact, a new fact, something I didn't already know, uh, be it from mainstream media, textbooks, church, school, and any other books that I've read. I try to find out something new about my history, my black history. I try my hardest, okay? I make it a mission to find out something. And this year was no exception. Thankfully, I found out about the documentary, gospel. It was just called gospel, not the gospel, on PBS, Public Broadcasting Services System, PBS. Okay, the channel with Sesame Street and them on it. Okay, there's there are things for adults to watch after 6 o'clock. Okay. But anyways, gospel the documentary that was hosted by Dr. Henry Louis Gates, who also hosts the program Finding Your Roots, where he talks to celebrities and uh goes back in time for to find out they find out their personal history and the black church and other documentaries that he has hosted. He's I want to be that famous that he wants to find my roots. So that's a good it's a very good show. I watch it weekly. um and these programs, including gospel, is up on the PBS app. So check that out. But the selling point for me, I mean, of course, I'm a little church girl. Y'all know that, and gospel music is part of the soundtrack of my life. So, as of some of you who are probably watching me, um, and but I looked up and I saw the trailer and I saw Elvanita Twinkie Clark. Twinkie Clark, that's my favorite singer. And I was hoping, and they did. They covered '90s gospel, which I think is the goat of the subgenres of gospel. '90s gospel is the best. It is greatest. Okay. But before we could even get to the stuff that I really knew I was going to be entertained by, we had to go through the history, So, we had to go through the hymns of coming from the African American Episcopal Church. That is the first black church, That's what we did not have to go to our master's churches, as black people. We started the first church that we started was the African American Episcopal Church. Then, also the hymns that were sung in the Baptist church, the black Baptist churches. And, we go through those. We go through Thomas Dorsey, who had an interesting history. Um, he was a jazz guy, and he went to a Baptist convention one night, one night at a Baptist convention. And he got saved, and he decided to make gospel music. And some of our favorite gospel songs, the standard Precious Lord Take My Hand, that is sung at many funerals. It was written by him. It has a very, I knew the history of it, but it has a very somber history to it. And we talk about his works with Roberto Martin. And then enters the chat of Sister Rosetta Tharpe and Mahalia Jackson. Come to find out, they had a beautiful, wonderful battle that no one has documentation of. I would have loved to hear. I would have loved to be in that church at that concert of the Battle of Mahalia Jackson and Sister Rosetta Tharpe singing. And then enter in the 50s and the 60s. We have the caravans and and Clara Ward and the Ward Singers, and a member of the Caravans that y'all knows Shirley Caesar. Y'all know beans, greens, potatoes, tomatoes. She was a part of that group. Also, the Reverend James Cleveland. Okay. Well, by now we're in the '60s, and we have to talk about civil rights. Okay. Um, they go through and talk about Prathia Hall, whose prayer she kept saying, "I have a dream, I have a dream," and it is documented. I have did a blog post about it. The link will be in the link to that post will be below. Her prayer, "I have a dream," was what inspired Dr. King's "I Have a Dream" speech that he does on the March on Washington. Okay, and they go through that, and okay, so that was August 1963. September 15th of 1963, four young lives, four little girls were killed in a bombing at the 16th Street Baptist Church. Um, these young little girls, no, they were all preteens, um, were getting ready for church, and someone put a bomb under the steps. I don't know if you know these things. They taught us this in school. I don't know if you know, but I'm going to go through some of it because this is very important. And now we have more civil unrest, as y'all call it. Okay. The the country is on edge, again. Before there was Dylan Roof in the 60s, they didn't care anything about a church. Before a shooting happens in Lakewood Church, people are bombing and shooting up churches. Not in black churches, they really didn't care. It's not just now, you hear about mosques in the 60s, black churches. In this church, four little lives are taken. Okay. 4 days later, Reverend James Cleveland, and at that time, the Angelic Choir. If you don't know who James Cleveland is, the closest I can tell you is James Cleveland was the Kirk Franklin of the day. Or Kirk Franklin is the James Cleveland of our day now, of the days now, because from the 50s until the 90s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s, James Cleveland is doing music. He has some kind of choir, some kind of group. He is doing some kind of music. Okay, just like how Kirk Franklin, depending on when you met Kirk Franklin, uh, the the end of the '80s, the '90s until now, we have Kirk Franklin always doing music. So that was James Cleveland at that time. He gets in the studio with his choir, the Angelic Choir, and this is 4 days later. This is September 19th, and he records a 6-minute hymn that is based on the words that Jesus told the no, he didn't tell the disciples, because there was a big storm that was affecting the boat that he was on. He was asleep because he's Jesus. He sleep. The disciples are like, Master, hey, this this storm is, you how can you sleep through this? Jesus gets up. He calmly tells the storm and the water, peace be still. And that is the name of that song, Peace Be Still. I know that song. I've heard that song all my life. Okay. That Reverend James Cleveland is my grandfather's, well, was my grandfather's favorite gospel artist. To the point where he put some of that Jimmy Cleveland on. That's what I heard as a child. So, in my grandfather's head, they were boys. So, the song is a carefully coded song, just like our slave ancestors, how they had to come up with their spirituals, Steal Away and Getaway Jordan and Swing Low, to communicate to each other that, we were, escaping slavery. That song is, you know, African Americans could not, black people, we could not do a protest song. We couldn't just we were not the Bob we could not they were upset with Bob Dylan singing stuff, so you know, and then some church man, some gospel song, but because of the nature of, things that were going on in the country, Peace Be Still um was the message that they wanted to put out, you know. Uh Even now that song is still very poignant. We need to play that song more. You know, it's not just a church song. This is a song for, you know, we need peace in our lives. In the 80s, it was all we are saying is give peace a chance and peace in the Middle East. In the 60s and now we need to say, yes, peace be still. We need to say that to life. All that's going on around us, you know, I don't need to tell y'all, just the Super Bowl. They decided to incorporate. They've been incorporating this song for a few years now, the Black National Anthem. And there was some people that were very upset about that. Even one guy, I was like, very good. Audrey Day sung it this year, and this guy got in my mentions, and I was like, I had time until time for the game, but I was like, sir, no. And he wanted to call it racist and stuff. I'm like, you be all right, go sit down. No, once I was through, talking to him, I blocked him. But peace be still. Why does that song offend you? If you listen to the words of the song, that song should not offend you. Okay, but yeah, still today, that "Peace Be Still" by Reverend James Cleveland and the excuse me, Angelic Choir is still needed. That song goes on to be inducted into the Grammy Hall of Fame in 1999. That was 8 years after the passing of Reverend James Cleveland. And I still didn't know that. I don't know why no one ever taught us that. That wasn't even mentioned. Because I know in 1999 I was still watching the Grammys heavy. I didn't even know that was a song for a protest song. It is good to know that. And after that was the ending of the first night of the gospel, and I was like this. I wondered, did my grandfather even know that? I was like, so did he know what? Yeah, it's a good thing to know. I told you, I'm gonna share, and sometimes I do share the stuff that I learned. Especially the stuff that makes you proud. Not just proud as a person that little church girl, but that makes me proud as a black woman that gospel music just wasn't in the four walls of the church. Which we know that, but yeah, we made gospel artists made protest songs too. That's good to know. All right, so I'm rambling. What did you guys learn? Did you learn anything new? February of 2024 in Black history and in Black facts that you learned. Whether I know it or not, you don't know what I know. I don't know what you know. I might be learning from you. Leave that down below in the comments. On the social media site that you see this on, except Facebook. Say Facebook, you get in these comments. Or you can drop me a line at the email address that's in the description box. Yeah. So yeah, peace be still. Thank you, Reverend James Cleveland and the Angelic Choir. Thank you for that wonderful 6 minute hymn. And let's try to incorporate some peace in our lives. Give it some big black energy. So yeah. And other than that, talking to you in adult terms.